I used to blow dry my hair upside down every single morning and wonder why it looked flat by 10 a.m. Nobody told me that was the actual problem. If your hair's gotten thinner or finer over the years, the way you're washing it, drying it, brushing it, even sleeping on it, might be working against you without you knowing it. Today I'm walking you through 4 simple steps that fix this, in order, starting with the one most women get backwards first. I researched the worst styling mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50, so you get real results fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The washing mistake. Here's something most women never hear from their stylist. The shampoo you're using might be coating your hair in a way that makes it look thinner, not because of how much hair you have, but because of how heavy each strand feels once it dries. Fine hair doesn't need moisture the way thick hair does. It needs weightlessness. And most shampoos marketed as nourishing or repairing are loaded with conditioning agents that sit on the strand and flatten it against your scalp. You wash your hair thinking you're taking care of it, and you're actually pressing it down. If you've ever washed your hair, let it dry, and thought, why does it look thinner than yesterday? This is very likely why. You're not imagining it. You're not losing more hair overnight. The product is doing exactly what it's designed to do. And what it's designed to do is wrong for your hair type. The fix is switching to a volumizing shampoo specifically formulated for fine or thin hair. And here's the exact language to use with your stylist or when you're shopping. Ask for a lightweight, volumizing formula, sulfate-free, with no heavy silicones. Silicones are the ingredient doing most of the damage. They're what gives certain shampoos that silky, luxurious feel when you run your hands through wet hair. And that exact feeling is the problem. Silicone coats the strand, adds weight, and over repeated washes, builds up so gradually you don't notice it happening. You just notice the result, which is hair that looks thinner every month. Once you switch, don't expect an overnight transformation. Give it 2 to 3 washes for the buildup to clear, and for you to see your natural texture again. What changes is subtle but real. Your roots lift slightly on their own, without you doing anything extra. Your part looks less exposed. And when people look at you, they're not registering thin hair. They're registering a woman whose hair simply has movement and life to it. That's the whole game with fine hair. It was never about having more of it. It's about what the hair you have is doing. Here's the before and after that actually matters here. Before, flat, silicone-heavy shampoo. Hair pressed close to the scalp within hours of drying. After, lightweight volumizing formula, roots that hold their lift through the afternoon. But washing is only step 1. What you do in the next 60 seconds, while your hair's still wet, matters just as much, and it's where I see almost every woman make the second mistake. Part 2. The towel drying mistake. Most women rub their hair with a towel the same way they dry their hands, back and forth, fast, no thought to it. For fine hair, that single habit is doing more damage than heat styling ever will. Fine strands have a smaller diameter than thick or coarse hair, which means the outer layer, the cuticle, is more exposed and more easily roughed up. Every time you rub, you're lifting that cuticle, and a lifted cuticle catches light differently. It looks dull. It tangles more. And over time it snaps. You've probably noticed more breakage lately, little strands in your brush, a bit more shedding on your shoulders, and assumed it was just age or hormones. Some of it might be, but a real portion of it is simply the friction you're putting your hair through every single morning. And it's completely avoidable. The fix is switching to a microfiber towel, or even a soft cotton t-shirt, and using a blotting and squeezing motion instead of rubbing. Here's exactly how to do it, and the language to use if you're buying one. Ask for a microfiber hair towel, or hair turban. They're inexpensive and last for years. Wrap your hair gently, press the towel against your scalp and lengths, hold for a few seconds, release, and repeat down the length of your hair. No back and forth motion at all. You're removing water through pressure, not friction. The result shows up faster than you'd expect. Within a week or 2, you'll notice fewer strands in your brush, and your hair will actually hold a style longer through the day, because you're not starting every style on already damaged, roughed-up cuticle. Smooth cuticle reflects light evenly, which is what gives hair that healthy shine people comment on. Damaged cuticle scatters light, which is what makes fine hair look extra dull and thin, on top of everything else it's already dealing with. This is a case where a completely free change, just how you move your hands for 30 seconds, changes how your whole head of hair behaves for the rest of the day. Before, rough terry cloth towel, aggressive rubbing, frizzy roughed up strands by the time you pick up the brush. After, microfiber towel, gentle blotting, smooth cuticle that holds shine and style for hours longer. I told a friend this exact thing last spring, and she called me 2 weeks later just to say her hairdresser asked what she changed, because her ends looked noticeably healthier. She hadn't changed a single product. Just her hands. Now, once your hair's damp and smooth instead of rough and tangled, the next mistake happens with the very next tool you probably reach for. And it's the one causing the most heat damage in this entire routine. Part 3. The blow-drying mistake. Here's the part almost nobody explains correctly. Blow-drying fine hair the wrong direction doesn't just fail to add volume. It actively trains your hair to lie flatter over time. Hair has what stylists call memory. It dries in the shape you dry it in. And if you're pointing the dryer straight down at your scalp the way most of us were taught decades ago, you're literally training every root to lie flat against your head, day after day, until that becomes its resting state. If you've noticed your hair seems to need more and more product just to get the same lift you used to get for free, this is very likely the reason. You're not just fighting fine hair. You're fighting hair that's been trained, through repetition, to do the opposite of what you want. The fix is drying at the roots with your head tipped forward, dryer angled upward against the direction of hair growth, not down onto it. Here's the exact request to bring to your stylist so they can show you the motion in person. Ask them to demonstrate root lift blow drying with a boar bristle round brush, and have them watch you try it once before you leave the salon. Tip your head forward, aim the airflow up and against the roots, and use the brush to lift each section as you dry, rather than pulling it flat and smooth against your scalp. The moment right before you'd normally press the dryer flat down is the moment to redirect it upward instead. That single adjustment retrains where the root sits once it's dry. Give this 7 to 10 days of consistent mornings. Hair memory doesn't reset in one dry, but it does reset. What changes is the lift at your crown holds through lunch instead of collapsing by 9 a.m. And that crown lift is what reads as full head of hair from across a room. Far more than actual density does. Most people clock volume at the roots, not the ends. You can have completely fine hair and still look like you have plenty of it, if the roots are doing their job. Before, dryer pointed down, roots trained flat, crown collapsing by mid-morning. After, dryer angled up against the roots, crown lift holding well into the afternoon. You've fixed how you wash it, how you dry it with a towel, and now how you blow dry it. There's one more piece, and it happens after you've already left the house, while you're just going about your day. That undoes all three if you skip it. Part 4. The midday maintenance mistake. Here's the one almost nobody talks about, because it doesn't happen in front of a mirror. It happens hours after you've styled your hair and forgotten about it. Fine hair holds onto oil differently than thick hair does. The scalp's oil has less distance to travel before it reaches the surface and coats every strand, which means by early afternoon, fine hair can look flat again even after a great morning blow dry. Most women's response to this is to reach for more product, more mousse, more spray, piling it on top of hair that's already weighed down, which makes the flatness worse, not better. If you've ever caught your reflection around 2 or 3 in the afternoon and thought your hair looked completely different from how it looked when you left the house, this is exactly why, and it's not something more product fixes. The fix is carrying a small volumizing dry shampoo, not a heavy one, and using it as a root refresh, not a full reapplication. Here's the exact language for shopping or asking your stylist. Request a lightweight volumizing dry shampoo, not a refreshing or texturizing one. Those two are formulated heavier and will add weight rather than lift. Spray it directly at the roots from about 6 inches away. Wait 30 seconds for it to absorb the oil. Then flip your head forward and gently tousle just at the roots with your fingertips. Don't brush it through the full length. That 30-second pause before you tousle is what makes the difference. It gives the powder time to actually absorb the oil instead of just sitting on top of it. What changes is your hair looks the way it did at 8 a.m. Not because you've restyled it, but because you've removed the one thing, oil at the root, that was flattening it in the first place. People who saw you in the morning and see you again at a 4 o'clock meeting won't be able to tell 9 hours have passed. That consistency is what reads as put together far more than any single styling technique on its own. Before, flat, oily-looking roots by mid-afternoon despite a full product routine that morning. After, refreshed, lifted roots at 4 p.m. that look just like they did at 8 a.m. Put these 4 steps together: the right shampoo, the towel technique, the root lift dry, and the midday refresh, and you're not managing thin hair anymore. You're working with it. You now know exactly what's been working against your hair: the wrong shampoo, the wrong towel motion, the wrong blow-dry angle, and the missing midday refresh, and you know exactly how to fix each one, starting tomorrow morning. That's real, usable knowledge most women never get handed this clearly. Tell me in the comments, which of these 4 steps are you trying first? The shampoo swap, the towel change, the root lift dry, or the dry shampoo trick? Next week I'm covering the haircuts that actually make fine hair look thicker, without a single product involved. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.